the Minnesota Vikings' first week of training camp. And they're trying to figure this out while they try to figure out the CBA and everything else. But let's assume that the Vikings do start training camp this week.
All right.
What are you most confident in when it comes to the Minnesota Vikings headed into training camp? This is kind of for the season, but like interpret it however you want.
Mine is simple. Safety. Smith, Harris.
Oh, I thought you meant like
a combined. No. I'm not confident in safety.
Eric Sugarman has done a great job.
He's trying his hardest, but I can't be confident.
No one's catching COVID in that cafeteria.
During this COVID-19 time. But yes, if you are paying your combined, you're paying your starting safeties $19.8 million. I'm confident that Harris and Smith are going to be reliable. I hope for the Vikings' sake, outstanding. But yeah, that's the one position at which I look at both the starters and I say that is a lot to make, but they're both damn good. Yeah. So it's my confidence is the starting safeties.
Dex.
Yeah, I think for me, I like the offense still a lot. I know Gary Kubiak's basically taking it over for Kevin Stefanski, but it was a lot of things Kubiak was already doing in place. So I think the offense is honestly going to be just fine, even losing Stephon Diggs. I think it might lack a little bit of big playability that Stephon Diggs obviously brought to the field every day. But I really look at the offense, and I'm not going to be too concerned with how it goes in week out, unless it's just an absolute disaster to start the year. But I think Dalvin Cook's still in place. Kirk Cousins is still playing well. So I actually have a lot of confidence with the offense, which is something we haven't said really about the Vikings in a couple of years.
All right, this is going to sound crazy to you guys, especially Judd. But the thing I'm most confident in is Kirk Cousins. Now, let me specify, okay? Kirk Cousins for the duration of a 16-game season.
Yes.
I'm not saying in the fourth quarter of a road playoff game at San Francisco.
How do you feel then? Okay? Yeah, how do you feel on that one?
I'm saying if we're looking ahead toward the next 5 months of Vikings football and all the different areas that you can either be concerned about or focus your attention on or lose sleep over, the last couple years, Kirk Cousins as Vikings quarterback, 70% completions. He throws for 260 yards a game. He had one of the best passer ratings and PFF ratings in all of the NFL last year. And he has thrown, in 2 years as Vikings quarterback, he has thrown 56 touchdown passes to just 16 interceptions. Like, he's a really good quarterback. Now, he melts down on the road sometimes
just
against
wait
Chicago.
Till week 5 when you are calling for his benching.
But I think I can have
when
two opinions here.
Mannion to play.
I can say, like, we know that he has a ceiling and that his ceiling is not the same ceiling as Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, etc. But we know that the Vikings aren't going to have a train wreck at quarterback. And so I am very confident that they will get competent to very good quarterback play over the duration of a season. And a lot of other teams would gladly take that type of, I guess, peace of mind at that position that the Vikings have.
Okay.
So, all right. And don't mistake this for...
Let's play that back.
He's playing a road game at Lambeau.
Save this, Declan.
No problem.
All right. So let's go back to Judd here. What are you most concerned about for the Vikings in 2020?
So this is beyond the team's control, but there is no question in my mind that the concern is this: preparation time. You have 15 draft picks, gentlemen. You have 15 picks. You've got cornerback competitions, I guess, that are unclear. You now have had, because of the pandemic, no OTAs. You are now probably going to have no exhibition games. And if you look at what the league is proposing as the rollout of training camp, it's not exactly preparation. This is no team's fault, and if every team is going to be battling this. But the Vikings have a lot of new guys and competitions at guard and competitions that aren't really going to take place like they should. And we're going to get eventually at some point in time to week 1, and it's going to be like, okay, let's go. So this is not a Spielman fault. It's not a Zim fault. It's no team's fault. But if you look at the potential of very, very, very small time for ordinary training camp competitions to unfold, that's a definite concern. If you have lots of guys back, it's probably not as big of concern. But, Zim's first year here, right, Phil? Training camp. He was in Xavier Rhodes' back pocket in Mankato every day. And he turned Rhodes from being, I think, a decent player into a Pro Bowl damn good player. That's not possible now.
Yeah.
And so my concern is we get to week 1 and it's like, oh, yeah, they didn't have time to play football, did they?
Yeah.
Or learn.
Dex, what are you most concerned about?
Yeah, a little bit with Judd with just kind of the rookies getting acclimated enough and quick enough to help out this team? Because the Vikings on paper had, I think, a really good draft. They drafted 15 players. They drafted people that honestly were going to make impacts right away, assuming that there wouldn't be a stoppage or an awkward training camp or no preseason. And now all of a sudden, I mean, can Justin Jefferson get up to speed and be a number 2 wide receiver? Is Jeff Gladney going to be able to step in and be a starting cornerback right away? So my concerns is how much of that rookie class, who we were very bullish on after the draft, now all of a sudden, how are they going to be able to get into the fold and make an impact right away on week 1 or into the season? I have concerns about it now.
So I agree with you guys in terms of like just getting rookies acclimated when you have this many young players coming in and this little time to actually work with them. That's a problem. I think teams that have the majority of their starters and rosters intact from last year are just going to be at a great advantage in the month of September, maybe for the full season. So I'm gonna go to this answer and say my biggest concern is actually the rest of the NFC, because you can make a great case if the goal is win your division or get into the playoffs and see what happens. There are no guarantees for the Vikings. You know, we all think that Green Bay is going to regress, but Green Bay went 13-3, and they have Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, and they've got some weapons. They did, I think, make a huge mistake not drafting a weapon or something to help the current team in the first round. So I guess that's a saving grace. And Chicago, their quarterback situation is very much in flux, but that defense is good enough to at least have gotten them to 8-8 last. So there's no guarantees in your division. Then you go to the other divisions. It's like Philadelphia is a playoff contender. Dallas should take a big step forward. NFC West, my God, San Francisco could win the Super Bowl. Seattle can always be in the mix to make noise in the playoffs. The Rams were in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Arizona, we think, Judd and I both agree, Arizona might be the team to watch to go 9-7 and sneak in. Tom Brady is in the NFC South with Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, and whatever Teddy Bridgewater can do with Carolina. Like, there's only 2 or 3 teams in the entire conference where you would look at and say, yeah, probably not much of a chance to make the playoffs. The Giants, probably not much of a chance. Washington,
yes.
And maybe Detroit. Like, those might be the only 3 teams you would say, probably not going to put money on those teams to make the playoffs. So, like, just how good you have to be in the NFC to get to the playoffs is a problem for the Vikings. So, that's it. That's confidence, curiosity.
Curiosity.
Concern.
Curiosity. We're not done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We haven't done curiosity.
I skipped curiosity.
See?
I'm sorry.
Confidence, concern, curiosity.
Right, okay, curiosity. Go ahead, Judd.
I've got a bunch of them.
Premature segment evacuation there.
Yes, it was. I've got a bunch of these, but my main one is this. When the players are supposed to report, assuming that goes through, a week from today, which is going to be next Tuesday, July 28th, is Dalvin Cook going to show up? And what's Dalvin Cook's state of mind going to be? And if Dalvin Cook doesn't show up, is he going to then just forfeit his year of his accrued year and then be an unrestricted or a restricted free agent after 2020? There's a lot of variables here. He looks like he's in great shape, so I don't question that. But I do question the mental mindset. I do question, it's weird because I can see this both ways too. I am not in the camp that the Vikings should just pay him. I really don't think that they should. That being said, I think that if they want to have as much success as possible, if we do play the 2020 season in full, you guys, that Dalvin Cook is incredibly important to this team. So it's not a concern. It's far more of a curiosity of, is this going to unfold with a contract extension at some point early in training camp? Is this going to unfold with him showing up and being disgruntled but still playing through the last year of his contract? We don't know. Definite curiosity, though, is Dalvin Cook for me.
Mine is just how Zimmer schemes this defense, because I don't think this defense is going to be a train wreck, even with cornerback being up in the air right now. I think Mike Zimmer is obviously one of the best defensive coaches in the league. Now, are they going to be top 5 in what we saw in 2017 or even last year? I don't think so. But do I think they can still be an above average defense that can cause some quarterbacks some hell and get after the QB a lot? Yes, I still do. So how Zim schemes that defense is what I'm very curious about. But I have a lot of confidence that he's going to be able to do it. I'm just curious how he does it.
Yeah, it is. It will. I wouldn't put it as his biggest challenge as Vikings defensive-minded head coach, because I think the first year he took over, the worst defense in the league was probably like, oh my God moment for him.
Expectations were low then, though.
Yep,
they're not
right.
low now.
Correct.
Yep. So he's got to kind of work similar magic. Although they didn't have a Danielle Hunter. Like he's got more tools.
But are
in
these
the toolbox
corners going
to
be able to do this?
Well, it's up to him
like
to make it happen.
No real practices?
Yeah,
that's my question.
It's going to be tough. The Vikings defense could very well be a train wreck in the first 5 or 6 weeks. Like they might have to hold on for dear life. So my biggest curiosity, this is me straddling the fence because my biggest curiosity is Kirk Cousins in big games. Okay?
Here we go. You're setting him up to fail. I love it.
No, but here it is. So Kirk Cousins, over the duration of a 16-game season, is going to give you very, very good production.
Yep.
He's going to be a fringe top 10 quarterback. And when you drill down and you get into the micro and you start to really do the autopsy on his season, the moments that leave you wanting more are like at Chicago in primetime,
at Green Bay,
fourth quarter at Lambeau Field.
That was a perfect one, yes.
So on the schedule this year, I mean, all the usual suspects, the at Lambeau, at Soldier Field, at Seattle in primetime in week 5, national TV, like I'm watching very closely. I would say the road game against Tom Brady, even though it's a noon game, at Tampa Bay, week 14, playoffs on the line. You've got at New Orleans on a Friday night, on Christmas, short week, like those big matchups in big moments. He doesn't need to go undefeated in them, but can he go like, if we're going to highlight 6 of those games, can he go 3-3 and perform well in 4 or 5 of them? That's the big question for him. And that's the next level. If there's a next level for Kirk, it's drilling down into those key games and just doing a better job. In the playoffs last year, he stepped up big in the second half against the Saints. And then he wasn't able to overcome a bad offensive line and just a general defensive overwhelming performance by the Niners. So, like, I need to see more of what we saw in that Saints game in these big moments. And you know what? If the Vikings are going to make the playoffs, he might have to play that way in some of these big games. They might need to go 11-5 to make the playoffs, in which case you probably have to play well.
No Diggs, too. No Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be good sometimes.
Yep. So, all right, that is confidence, curiosity.
Thank you.
Concern.
Thank you
Sorry,
for getting through Thank you for getting through the entire segment.
Sorry. So
the 3 C's, Phil.
The 3 C's. Okay.
3 C's.
Maybe that's the name of the segment.
3 C's.
The 3 C's.
Because you stopped at 2 C's.
Let's rebrand it.
2 C's. No, 3 C's.
It's the 3 C's. Yep. We should we'll make that a weekly thing. That's a new weekly segment
in life.
Fridays.
In life. This weekend, confidence, curiosity, concern. I'm curious how drunk I will be. I'm confident I will be drunk, and I'm concerned I'll be too drunk.
I'm curious to see if Declan drinks any new seltzers this weekend.
I might.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.